So, in my video about being an introvert in retirement, a lot of the comments said things like, "Hey, I'm content with my quiet life, but I feel guilty about it." Or, "Everyone says I should get out more, but I like my slow days." So, if you're a kid who was raised in the 70s, but yet you're oddly happy being alone in retirement, you're not weird. You're a product of the decade you grew up in. Researchers say our childhood was a rare evolutionary window of wild freedom and real responsibility that'll probably never happen again. And it might be why so many of us retirees are introverts who prefer quiet over crowds. So if you were a 70s kid, it was bikes with no helmets, be home before the streetlights come on, BB guns, those kind of things. So I want to show you how that childhood might have quietly trained you to be a quiet, content introvert in your retirement, and why that can be a real gift to your family and to your grandkids. So, if an empty day doesn't scare you, you can probably thank your 70s boredom training. Back then, if you said, I'm bored, you didn't get an iPad. You heard, go find something to do or I'll find something for you. And something for you usually included a broom or a rake. I grew up out in the country, 2 acres, a live in grandma, only one neighbor boy my age, about a quarter mile away. So most days it was just me and my two younger sisters. Along one edge of our property by the train tracks, there was a drainage ditch. To an adult, it was just a ditch. To us, though, oh man, it was a river wilderness, a secret world. And an awful lot of my childhood was spent in or along that ditch. And multiple times a day, my grandma would step onto the back porch and yell out, "Marky, get out of the ditch." No one was organizing our day. We had to make something out of nothing. The gravel pile at the end of the driveway, sticks, dirt, rocks, sometimes stones on the track under a passing train. Yeah, and then that kind of childhood teaches a simple skill. It's give me an empty afternoon and I'll figure it out. So fast forward now to your retirement. If your calendar isn't packed, but you're perfectly happy puttering in the garage, reading, walking, or just sitting on the porch, that isn't you doing retirement wrong. That's the same I'll figure it out muscle you built playing in that ditch. So if you go quiet in a crisis instead of freaking out, your childhood training might have helped that. On our land where I grew up, we had the ditch, some old barbed wire at the corner, and a lot of room to do questionable things. I remember numerous times snagging myself on that old barbed wire. Out came the mercurochrome, that bright red antiseptic a lot of you can still smell in your memory. And other times, good old calamine lotion, the kind of spread all over you for the poison ivy that I would get from playing exactly where I'd been told not to play. One year I got a Daisy BB gun for Christmas. It was awesome. I spent hours shooting cans, lining up my little green army men and shooting at them, and occasionally taking a hopeless pot shot at a bird. Birds were always safe from me. We didn't call it risky play, it was just life. You got hurt, you got cleaned up, you went back outside. One of our favorite games involved my youngest sister, 7 years younger than me. My middle sister and I would tie a rope around her waist and make her run around the yard. It wasn't a very organized game. We would chase her, trying to jump on the rope and stop her very abruptly. Today, you need a stack of permission forms, but back then, it was just a normal afternoon. And today, a lot of us handle stress the same way. When something bad happens, we get quiet, we think, we solve. People watching might think we don't care, but actually, we're calm. Those little risks that we did as a kid taught our bodies the difference between real danger and this is just scary. So, in a family crisis, you might not be the loudest voice, but you're often the steady one who can breathe and be practical. That calm isn't coldness, it's training in a way. And with our grandkids now, we don't need to recreate our 70s stunts. That's probably not such a good idea, but we can let them feel small, safe risks. It's like at the creek or on the playground, I'll tell my grandsons, walk slow, stay where I can see you. No, you can't go through the culvert. But I still let them feel the wobble in their legs, the cold water, the slippery rocks, the this is a little scary, but I can do it. And that's how courage is born. So if silence feels comforting instead of scary, that's not a flaw. It's how you were raised. In the 70s, if you missed your favorite TV show, it was gone. You might wait days to get photos back from the drugstore. If your friend wasn't home when you called, well, you just try it again tomorrow. There's no on demand anything, no phones buzzing every few seconds, no text messages. And we learned early sometimes you just wait, and that's okay. So now in retirement, sitting on the porch for an hour doing nothing feels pretty good. Driving with the radio off is peaceful. You don't need constant activity to feel okay. And people might say, oh, you're isolating. That can't be healthy. Yeah, we do need to watch out for real loneliness and depression. But for many of us, there's also this truth. We were trained to be okay with quiet. We were trained to be okay with our own thoughts. That's not a defect, that's a capacity for solitude. So if you like a quiet house, slow mornings, and a small circle, that doesn't mean that something is wrong with you. Might mean your 70s childhood left you with a strong ability to be at peace with yourself. And with our grandkids, we can model this in a waiting room or in line at the store. I try not to fill every second with them with screens or iPads or play on my iPhone. We sit, we talk quietly, we doodle, we people watch. And from that, they learn that boredom is not an emergency. I can handle it. Unfortunately, that's a rare skill now. And introverts like us are good at teaching it. So if you've always been okay on your own, you may have learned that on a bicycle as a kid. When I was about 12, I was in 4 H and one year raised two market pigs as my project. We kept them at my cousin's pig farm about 2 miles from our house out in the country. So twice a day, morning and evening, I'd get on my bike and ride those 2 miles by myself to feed my pigs and take care of them. No car rides from mom and dad, no tracking, no helmet, just you know the way, be careful, see you when you get back. And then to get to the pigs in the barn, I had to walk through the big pig pen past their huge boar. And at the time, I just thought, wow, that's a big pig. My cousin had told me early on about, hey, don't bother the boar. And then the adults trusted that I could handle it. It was only later I realized how dangerous that could have been. But back then it was normal. They gave me real work and then stepped back and let me handle it. And from that kind of thing, you learn that people are counting on me. You learn I can get there and back on my own. You learn that I can walk past something big and scary and still do what I came to do. So is it any wonder that in retirement, you may not necessarily feel a big need for a huge circle of friends? You're comfortable handling life quietly, family, maybe a few solid friendships, and a lot of time just doing what needs to be done. Doesn't mean you dislike people. It means your default setting has always been I'm okay on my own. I don't need a crowd. So let me bring this home. If you grew up in the 70s, your childhood likely taught you to make your own fun. Probably gave you cuts and bruises, probably gave you some steadiness in a crisis. Probably learned patience through waiting, and you learned how to be comfortable with quiet. And probably most important, it gave you the confidence that you could do things on your own. So if you're a retired grandpa, maybe a bit of an introvert, you feel guilty sometimes, maybe guilty that you don't have a huge social life, or guilty that you like slow, quiet days, or guilty that your favorite thing right now is just being with your grandkids. That's my favorite thing. So let me tell you this, if you feel those things, you're not broken. You were just trained in a different world. And a lot of what that world gave you is exactly what your grandparent, what your grandkids need today. We can't recreate the 70s. Probably really don't want to, truth be told. But we can pass on a little boredom and creativity. You can pass on a few safe risks and some courage. You can pass on some analog waiting and patience and quiet, steady presence. You don't have to be the life of the party. You don't have to force yourself to be someone you're not. Just bring the calm, thoughtful, observant introvert you are and let that be your gift. So I'd love to hear your stories in the comments. What one thing you did as a 70s kid that you could never get away with today? And what do you think it taught you? And if this hit home with you and you're still wrestling with, do I need more friends? Am I doing retirement wrong? Watch my other video, Being an Introvert in Retirement. I'll link it on the screen and down in the description. Click that next and we'll keep the conversation going. So thanks for being here. I'm Opa. Take good care of yourself and take good care of the little ones watching you. I'll see you in the next one.